Welcome back, everybody, to the Collector Series. Tony and I are sitting here today with Emil Jay from GCW. And it's always exciting for us, Tony, when we get to meet people in the business, in the wrestling industry, that collect wrestling cards and figures and many other things. I mean, obviously, Matt Cardona is sort of the prime example of that. He's known for his collecting. But Emil, you've got quite a haul behind you. We are going to talk about indie wrestling, but the focus is going to be on Emil's collection, and then something that we've been talking about as to the pricing of wrestling cards in general. So, Emil, welcome, Tony, as always. So let's get rolling, Emil. With why don't you start with how you got into not only GCW, but how you got into the collecting end of things.
Oh geez, I was a collector of things before I got into wrestling. So like as a young child, I was collecting Marvel cards and basketball cards. Those are my things. I was always sort of a card guy growing up, and then when I discovered wrestling at 8 and a half, in mid 1995, I then obviously wanted some wrestling cards because wrestling was my be all end all at that point, still is, obviously. And at that point in time, there weren't too many choices to make in terms of wrestling cards. Like in the in that modern time, I mean, you had the WCW main event set put out by Cards. I look up at the I can look at the box on top of my desk right now. Um, so there were those, and the action-packed WWF cards that were a year or two old at that point. Series one was way more readily available than Series two. So I had Series one of those. The aforementioned WCW main events. But there really weren't many choices for wrestling cards. I mean, over the years, you would have your WCW tops and your the WWF. Oh God,
Images.
I forget. Yes, yes, yes. So I had those, but few and far between in terms of wrestling releases
Well, you're
in
right
the
in the 90s
90s.
because there was that dry period where it was basically the
Yep,
WWF magazine cards. That was it. There was 95 paninis. Then there
yep.
was magazine cards, but that was a bit of a low period, sort of until the top stuff came for WCW. But anyways, it started
Yeah,
to get cooking with Fleer, obviously, in 2000. We haven't looked back since. But
and that's where I wish like I kind of locked in more. Because like wrestling cards were never really that important to me really because there weren't too many of them. They didn't seem like a big deal. Now I would still collect the basketball cards and you get your I would get my Kobe's and Kobe was my guy always. Um like I was locked in on the basketball cards, but the wrestling cards, I was like, whatever. Now looking back, I'm like, damn, I wish I collected those Fleers because they look fantastic. Um, but I was always big into the figure collecting for wrestling. Um, they didn't really have too many figures of basketball. I mean, they had starting lineups, but they didn't really move or anything like that. And you can't really like. I'm not gonna play
yeah,
a figure basketball game. I'm gonna play a wrestling match. I'm not gonna play I'm gonna go outside with an actual basketball and shoot hoops.
Yeah.
Um, so like uh, so growing up, that's how like in my brain it was segmented. I'm like, oh, I can play with these wrestling guys and I can collect the cards of the basketball, and that's kind of how it happened. Um, and the magazine cards, I didn't really even count them as cards. Like that doesn't it doesn't compute. You know what I mean? Like
why? Because
that
they were
that's a
perforated, or what?
I think so. To me, like maybe like I feel like I need to open a pack
I hear you.
and see what I get or whatever. Like that, I don't know. Like it's a weird thing to me. Like it just doesn't like the perforated part of the magazine, and even like if you had a do I have one here? I don't have any Bendums nearby, but
Hmm.
like
The
the
cutouts.
punch out,
Yeah.
yeah, like that doesn't count to me either. That's part of a package, you
Well, you know
know.
what, dude?
And
You're
That's a hard thing for me to do too, especially now that I'm in the figure game here with the store, is get these older collections that I buy sometimes. Like, man, do I want to crack it open to get the just so I can have the card, or do I want to keep it still mint on card? Like the ECW line that had the trading cards inside the packaging. I'm like, God, do I
Oh,
want to tear it open to take out the Just Incredible figure? Because who wants that? Or do I want to just keep the
right.
card, man?
Well, you
Now
know
that you
what, Emil,
mention,
you're not out on an island on this. I mean, to be honest with you, when we talk about rookie cards, we say that they got to be pack pulled. So there's a lot of people that have that notion that if it doesn't come out of a pack, it's not. I don't want to say legit, but it's not quite the same thing.
yeah, I was just checking this ECW figure I have up there. That's very, very dusty to see if it has a card in it. It doesn't, I don't think.
If you can go to the WTC website, you can actually check a list of which figures come with which cards. There's
Yeah.
Series 4 and Series 5, the ECW brawlers and stuff like that.
Bash of the
One has
Brawlers, yeah.
stickers, one has cards. Another
Oh yeah,
line,
I think this is like a series one Rob Van Dam or something.
yeah, they didn't have
So
any
it was
cards
too
or anything.
early.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. You, what was the question? I'm sorry.
Well, we're just talking about how you got into figures and everything else. So you've talked about cards, you talked about figures. Anything else? Any other wrestling collectibles in the mix?
Oh, magazines, yes, 100%. Like I think magazine was the first thing I started collecting wrestling wise because of the easy availability. Also, in when I first started getting into wrestling, figures were not easily to come across either. It was in between WWF licensing, between Hasbro and Just Toys, even. The Bendums, I don't think were even out yet. I think there was like a month or two wait for those. And WCW, they had the
What, Galoob?
like these guys.
Oh, okay.
Galoob was like 4 years earlier. Galoob was like 91, 90, like 91.
Yeah.
These, oh, this is even late. This is like 97. But like the old San Francisco toy makers, they were around, but I mean, uh, not easy to come by. But the magazine, WWF magazine, and the PWI, all the after mags, they were all right there on the newsstand. And my dad was a big magazine guy. He would get the car magazines and the Mustangs and this, that, and the other. He'd probably get a Playboy every now and then too, you know. Uh, but every Monday after he would get off work, we would get in the car and drive to the magazine store, which was just a convenience store with a really big magazine rack. Um, so we would go every Monday, and then that's when I would get either WWF magazine or one of the after mags or one of the knockoff ones, and then I figured out which ones I liked, and then it was really the after mags WWF magazine. Then I
You
got
keep all that stuff?
yeah, so magazines I have one, two, three, four, five. I have about six long boxes in my bedroom right now, and then I have more in my basement.
So
Um,
what is with that those boxes around you? You just moving in someplace? You packing up, moving somewhere? What's going on over there?
no, it's just to keep it not as cluttered.
This is just
It
this is a hoarder's collection right here, is what it is.
Yeah, that's really it. Like in this
Well, this has
box
been tidied up
here.
for us, Tony.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, these boxes have been sitting here exactly like this for probably like 4 years. Like, I just box it up and put it over here. I gotta really go through what it is, like what's actually in them, like do the inventory. But I know it's figures in these boxes here, mostly elites. And then like over here, like a brand new zombie sailor.
yeah. Nice.
I have those. These have not reached the box yet. These are overflowing out of another box. It's like you said, a hoarder's heaven. Um, yeah, I'm just running out of space, really, but I never run out of things that I want. So I got to figure
Yeah.
out how to balance that.
Now
Well,
here's a question.
anytime you're in the Phoenix area, you look like you want to downsize that collection, you know where to bring them to.
There you go.
I like that.
Here's a question for you, brother. Do you collect any GCW?
Me personally, I do have some GCW things. Like uh, I
There's our
have a
security spot shot.
few packs of these, the racks guys,
Yep.
because I'm in this, which is
Yeah.
really cool. My second GCW card, my
Yeah, tell me,
first one.
you know what? Actually, tell us about that. When were you approached the first time you were asked to be put on a trading cards like that? And tell me,
Oh,
how did that make you feel?
oh no, I wasn't asked. It was a surprise. I'll tell you this. It was the collective in Dallas, 2022, was it? The year, yeah, 2022 was Dallas, and we're walking around outside, and somebody comes up to me and asks if I will sign their trading card, and I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, this is weird. I don't have a card, but this guy wants my signature. Okay, cool. So I agree. Yes, fine. And then he pulls out of the thing. He pulls out this guy, and I'm like, I was like, what the? I was like, what is this? Where did
Uh-oh.
this come from? And they're like, yeah, you're in the set,
In the
and I
spring
start
set.
freaking out. And my friend Bobby, who is the person who is responsible for getting me back into
All right.
cards just a couple of months ago,
Well,
Bobby's a card guy. He starts freaking out. He's like, "What the?" He's like, "I didn't." I was like, "Dude, I didn't know this existed." So he runs inside and buys a set or whatever, and um, has me sign it or however it went. But like more people started coming up to me because that was the first day they were on sale, I guess, or the first time that people had them in their hands after they got shipped to them, whatever the case was. But people were asking me to sign their card, and I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. It's like a dream come true. I never thought that I would be on like a trading card, and it is kind of weird because again, with like my mental separation of things, like yes, it is a card, but I can't open a pack.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like I have like a weird thing with like the independent wrestling cards. Like they obviously exist, they're obviously cool, but I don't know what to do with them mentally.
Because
Does
you
that
can't pull
make
them out
any
of packs?
sense? I think so. I think that's the thing. Or they're not, or they're made independently. You know, they're not like
well,
Tops, Panini, Upper Deck, or
I can tell you, I have a love-hate relationship when it comes to the independent stuff as it is, just because I think they're cool. People are very creative and have some great designs. It's nice to see, talent getting started, being put on cards. That gives fans something to collect and connect with that talent. But at the same time, people using like intellectual property rights for things is kind of that illegal area, why I call them bootlegs sometimes, and people just making whatever they want when they want,
yeah,
and making a profit off of other people's licenses and logos and names. It's just I get both sides. So on one side, I'm like so cool, other side so illegal.
yeah. And for this one, they gave me uh they actually gave me one of those like 100 of these, like 100 copies or whatever, for me to do whatever I want with, for me to sell, for me to give away,
Compensation.
whatever. So like financially, like I don't I made more money than I thought. I didn't think I'd ever get one of these, but so between this and the racks, and they made a separate one for me personally, like
Made one for Brett as well in that rack set that was red, which was like a chase card. So I particularly like
yeah,
the Pabst racks ones with you and Brett because like Tony says, you might catch something. A lot of times, you get a Danhausen signature 4 or 5 years ago, and all of a sudden, we look back and we
Yeah,
see early versions of Kenny Omega and early versions of Brian Janderson and all these cats. And that's what sort of our indie group is always on about, is that you never know who you're going to get and who's going to turn into something tomorrow with the indie stuff.
of course. And then like also with the independent stuff, like I it also like because rookie cards are such a big deal, uh I think maybe does that get clouded?
Yeah, we use first appearance because it's confusing to people. That if you use the sports hobbies definition, then like we've got 4 different Hulk Hogan rookie cards, 2 or 3 different Andre rookie cards. So I
Yeah.
personally, I
I
just
mean,
refer to this is the first instance we ever saw this dude on a piece of cardboard, and that's what I go with. I seldom use the term rookie because it's up for debate.
yeah. Well, I mean that's still like that's industry wide though. Like there's uh throughout all the sports, right? Like there's like a
Yeah, but see,
million
that's the
Cooper
thing. That's the thing
flag
about
rookies.
wrestling. That's the thing about wrestling, though. It's such a gray area in
Correct.
how we define what type of genre it fits in. It's kind of its own little category. And also, we have, you know, time. Uh, time over time, things change, and we have to
Yeah.
evolve and change. And this is going to be a great segue, by the way, Paul. We're going to get into the pricing now because that's a
Right.
great segue about change and evolving. The hobby itself is wrestling cards has always been one to be taken seriously. People who collect wrestling cards usually don't like to tell people, "Oh, I collect wrestling cards." Um, uh, Now it's a big
Yeah,
deal. It's a big deal now.
it is.
I've been professing this since we started doing the podcast that we want to be taken seriously. We wanted to be acknowledged, and here we are being acknowledged as a major player. When you are part of that growth, prices are going to change. You're going to go, if you want to be like baseball, basketball, football, hockey, and things like that, you have to go with those growth spurts too. And those growth spurts are increases in prices, more availability, higher print runs, all the manufactured scarcity issues you want to call them. That's part of the growth process. And either you adapt with that or you just don't. And I mean, you can't sit back and bitch about something that you wanted and then you get it and then you go like, whoa, hey, why is it doing that? I wanted to be acknowledged, but not like this.
Yeah, this comes back
Right.
to a post that Emil you made a couple of months ago or whenever it was, fairly recently, that caught my attention because you tried to buy some stuff and you couldn't. Then you were looking at some stuff you wanted to break, and that was out of your hands as well. And you sort of posted, "Why is this going on?" And I was kind of laughing because Tony and I have been dealing with this for years now. This
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
we've been on the ground level of it, watching it get worse and worse, or better and better, depending on your perspective. But you said,
Right.
we should put a movement together, if I recall the way you phrased it. We should get a group of guys together and go to these manufacturers, and I'll let you speak. What were your thoughts when you put out that tweet? You're either having a bad day, but you weren't happy with the price of wrestling cards, and that stuck in my head.
Yeah, so basically is I have no problem with certain products being expensive or being luxury items. That has existed in the hobby for the last, I don't know, probably 30 some years, give or take a couple years. Once the more premium products like like your SPX and stuff like that started coming out. Um, I have no problem with that. The issue comes when there's no product for beginners. There's no like Topps baseball, they have their flagship. Where is a flagship product for pro wrestling which enables new collectors, young collectors, and collectors that don't really have a lot of money? Where's the opening for them to get involved?
We've talked about this
Because
before in the past too, and I agree with you on that there should be like an entry level type of product, as you said,
yes,
flagship. Topps used to put out a flagship set before they
they
lost
did.
the license to Panini. But even then, you're talking about Chrome boxes used to be $85 to $100 a box, and that those days are gone as well.
Long gone.
Now we're
Long
talking,
gone.
the new 2026 is $550, $600 a box right now. Um, I agree. We should have an entry level type stuff. On the flip side of that, saying that where's the stuff that kids can afford? Have you been to the National? Have you been to a card show where you see a kid carrying a case and whipping out a wad full of $100 bills, spending a lot of money on Pokemon stuff? It's not because these fucking kids don't have money. They got money, but I understand getting it to like the cheap boxes and to say like your the gas station store or something like that. You just get them at 7-Elevens where you can get a pack of cards just like that. Panini tried it with once. They did put out an NXT 2.0 set that was a really affordable product that had 2 hits in a box. You can get a box at the time for like $55 a box. It was super, and you can almost make a set out of a box. So I get it. I think we should have that as well. But I think
I
that
mean, like maybe just because like I'm like the way my mentality is, like I like okay, like I hits. I don't care. I don't care about autographs. I don't care about relics. I want to collect a set, and I want cool looking inserts.
yeah, you're speaking up right
That's all.
to Paul's side of the street over there. It's like that. I mean,
That's all.
we had a whole discussion about this about set collectors, and then I say this to Paul, and I mean it with all respect. It's a dying format. It's a dying collector base out there. There are people now that are prospecting and want their certain stars they want to have. I want to get Obafemi. I want to get this. I want to get MJF. I want to get these guys. So that's more of a thing now than actually set collectors. And then the flippers in the business now who want to like, all I care about are the hits. You get guys like Breaker Mayfield up there and whatnot who are cracking open cases, literally just cutting open the packs, sliding everything out. Okay, autograph, relic, rest is garbage. Throw it away.
Yeah, what is that? I don't understand the and so and here's the thing with me. When it comes to the price, like and all of it, like I like to sit down with for example, I got one of these the other day,
Nice.
you know. This is just that I have 3 other boxes of stuff over there. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna go pack by pack. I'm gonna put them in numerical order. I'm gonna separate them by inserts, and I'm gonna take my time.
I like that old
And
school sorting, man. I
yes,
do that all the time.
That's the fun of it. You know, that's what I used to do
yes,
with sets.
that's what you're supposed to do. And I don't understand. Like I'll watch somebody break online, and they just go and throw them. I'm like, what are you doing?
They
Like,
just want the hits.
and to me, like, no, I buy these because I want to collect the set. I want to have them. I buy pages. I put them in pages, and
Yep.
I look at them in my binder. Like,
Tony, I don't agree with you that set collectors are dying. You know,
They
it
are.
might not be what it was, but I'll tell you, it's a chicken and egg thing. When you can't afford to buy the sets anymore, guess what? People disappear. And that's what we've seen happen. It started with Panini, and it's gotten to the point where now, you know, I'm still struggling 6 weeks in to get my universe set. You know, point being is that there are plenty of guys out there because I have people all the time, especially on my rare stuff. Really, so on my insert stuff, do I want to sell them lock, stock, and barrel? Would you sell me this set? Sell me that set? Constantly. So new collectors as well are looking for that. But the manufacturers, they're the ones that have made that determination for us that, nah, we're going to make it really, really fucking difficult for you to put a set together. Notwithstanding your high-end, immaculate, you know, this is the case now with
oh
when you
yeah,
release a 300 piece select set or 300 piece chrome set. And, you know, only we know how the structure of wrestling retail works now. It's not like it used to be, you know. So they all go to the breakers and these guys sell their slots. And guess what? There's no sets to be had. So I don't know necessarily that the number of set collectors have been diminished. I think that we've just been pushed, if you will, maneuvered into collecting.
yeah. I think I feel like I'm in a corner, and I'm watching everybody else like have like I feel like I'm in a corner of a cafeteria during a massive food fight, and I'm just trying to sit there and eat my sandwich in peace, you know. And it's just like it's just madness and pandemonium, and people are worried about how much money they can get for this and flipping that and the comp on this. And I'm just like, wait a second, are we collecting cards here, or are we doing something completely different? Me, I feel like I'm collecting cards. I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
And there's a section of that market that still exists. And I still have to disagree with Paul. I think that the set collectors are a dying breed. That's why I think most of those guys, like you said, sit in the corner of the cafeteria and watch the masses do everything else.
Well, those guys, they can't afford to play anymore. They've been squeezed out
Whatever
by the
the case,
manufacturers.
whatever the
You
case
know,
may be, a dying breed is a dying breed by
they're
any
not
because
mutually
time.
exclusive. You can have guys in this hobby for money, guys that are guys that
100%.
are poaching, and then there could be guys like me and Emil that just want to get a set, put it in a binder, and it's there so that a week from now I can
Totally
pull it and
agree.
look at it.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. What I'm saying it's a smaller market now. It's like that, and it's
Yeah.
that's what it is. I mean, I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I'm not denying
But
that that's the case, but I'm not saying that that's something that's been chosen by market demand. It's not like all of a sudden
right.
people stopped
Is it
buying sets. All of a sudden we were unable to buy. Not me, but a lot of people that don't have the resources I have can't buy what they used to buy, and that's the reality.
yeah, and also like like did we go away, like did set collectors and stuff go away by choice, or were we
No,
kind of made to go over there because that's what the producers and what the distributors want to do with their
100%.
So
products?
did
It's manufactured scarcity. It's all by design.
sure, but
And I have no
I guess
problem
I guess
with
we can equate it
scarcity and
to we
all
can equate
that.
it to did the dinosaurs go away by choice or were they?
No, an asteroid came down and just blew them away. Well, that's what
There you
happened.
go. And the
It's
manufacturers of the asteroids.
correct.
They
Yeah,
are,
that's what I'm
and
saying.
I
They
think,
came, they
and
wiped us out.
So
I
regardless,
think,
they're gone.
Right.
Regardless.
Because my thing is,
but
why have base cards? You know, why do we need 100 cards or 200 cards or
You know
300
what? And
cards if no one's
there's a lot of sets like that. Like
yeah, if no
what's the
one's going
new
to collect
set
them?
coming out? What's the new set from Topps coming out?
Exalted,
Exalted, is that what it is? Yeah. So it's one
yeah,
pack,
Yeah,
5 cards per pack. You get one base card in a pack. That's it.
that's
hate
right.
it. I hate it. I can't do that. Like, I mean, me personally, I can't do that. But if somebody else wants to, go ahead. But like I said, like the thrill is gone after the initial opening, and 5 cards, you're done.
Yeah.
This gives me how many? This gives me 16 packs. This is 16 opportunities to be surprised.
What's that
And
saying
And
about
I
the
like
state
that.
of affairs when the base
And I like
card?
that 16. I like that 16 becomes an exciting thing when it used to be 36 and 40.
I know, I
Well,
know,
if you only
I
got
know.
one, like where are we at when a base card of a certain performer is worth less than the auto or less than a relic card? And that's what it is, you know, again, by design.
I hear you, man.
Yeah,
Arguments can be made every which way
Sure.
possible. I totally hear you on this, but it's just it's a matter of like it's it's a buffet. You get to choose what you want to eat. Okay.
Exactly.
yes, yes.
So you pay the price, you go in, you decide, you know what, I'm only eating greens.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat over here. It doesn't matter, whatever it is that you want to
Buffet
eat.
is a good analogy because there's something for everybody. So
Yes,
whatever
Yeah,
your lane is in the hobby, how you go about collecting, what is it you want? Are you a PC guy?
absolutely.
Are you an autograph guy? Are you like Emil and I that want to have the fun of having the entire set so you can look back and say, oh yeah, I remember this guy, I remember this gal, you know. Um,
And see,
but yeah,
I live in the world now too. For me, is I was a former master set collector, and
yeah.
I'm a master set collector in the truest, purest form too, of
yeah,
everything. But that became I got moved out to the side because I can't afford to go after. Even back in its infancy of parallels, when Topps started doing parallels in 2006, where we had regular
Yeah.
refractors and
So
refractor super
you're
refractors.
proving my point
I,
exactly.
I'm saying I
You
couldn't
got
if I couldn't have it
sidelined.
all, then I didn't want to go after it else like
Yeah,
that.
you
And it's
got
okay.
sidelined.
Yeah, that's okay. I didn't
Yeah.
whine about it. I
But
didn't cry about it. I didn't go. I just kind of moved on, and I said, you know what? I'm going to take a step back
yeah,
and
you
just kind
moved on because you were
of go on.
forced to move on. You didn't move on by your own choice, but you're like, you know what? I'm going to
It
get it
doesn't. It
going
doesn't
now.
matter. It doesn't matter if I was forced to or not. I still had to go and make a choice regardless.
Sure, to
Evolving,
care.
evolution happens.
Yeah, to go on or not, but it wasn't, you were forced into that choice.
I still
Everything was
don't want to
fine.
be in. I don't want to be traveling around in a fucking horse and trolley here. I got to get the car's been invented, dude. I got to get the car. Okay, I got to get a car now. So we got to move on and evolve. So I
Right,
decided that I was doing basic sets. I can do basic sets. Now I'm a player collector. I collect Dexter Loomis and only Dexter Loomis
right.
because I have fun with that. Don't even never watch the guy wrestle in my life. I
Yeah,
still like to just go ahead and
obviously
collect
I
them.
kept going with base sets and all the insert sets, but I just decided, okay, I'm not in a parallel world. Once you
But
eliminate
I
parallels,
like to go out and buy those guys who go out there and just crack for the sake of flipping the hits. You know what? Sell me your 5,000 count box of all your singles. I love to go through all that. It gives me that nostalgic feel of going through all this
yeah.
and putting sets together to sell for my customers.
There you go.
Yeah,
And if you didn't have people that wanted to buy those sets, you wouldn't be doing any of that. But people buy
I
those
mean, you know,
sets.
it's a small market. It's a tiny small market. It's very my set sales are in the minute fraction of what I sell card wise. People come in buying specific cards. I've had
yeah,
to
they want
tailor,
singles.
I've had to tailor my cases out here just to contain. This is a whole stack of Penta. This is a whole stack of Braun Breaker. This is a whole stack of Tiffany. Let them go through, pick out the cards they want to buy, and buy individual cards they want to go buy.
But I can tell you definitively that say a Fleer set comes up, a Royal Rumble or something, any of them,
Yeah.
it goes right away, right?
No, I
Oh
have
Because
them
yeah,
sitting here on the shelf. Nobody buys those.
well, online they do. If you go to eBay, you have complete sets, maybe not at
Sure.
the retail level, but if someone puts a set and it's priced competitively, they still sell.
Yeah, of course. You know,
So
but
that market is
I know
still
what
there.
those cards takes to complete those sets, and some people want to just dump them and dump them. That's great. I'm the guy who goes in and scoops them all up.
Yeah. Because there's a market for them still,
Yeah.
obviously, you know.
yeah. I'm still the kind of like I feel like to do the card process correctly, I need to open a box and rip a box. Like I think that's like the way I was brought up. Like I would get like when the new like Marvel release would come out. So in order to get the whole set and like whatever else, my dad would just buy me the box when it came out.
And those
Here's
were
your
fun rips
box of
back then. Those
cards.
were fun rips back then too. Getting Marvel Masterpiece, getting Marvel Spider-Man. Those were all great boxes, and those
Yeah,
too used to be very cheap and affordable. But as soon
yeah,
as Spider-Man came out in what
yep,
90 something, 2000 something, when it
yep,
first came out, all those Marvel prices skyrocketed. Everything
yeah.
skyrocketed.
And oddly, it wasn't the X-Men movies that did it. It
Was
wasn't the
Spider-Man. It was Spider-Man that
yeah, yeah. It was that first Spider-Man movie with Randy
Tobey.
Savage in there.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Bonesall's ready,
There you
you
go.
know.
See? Wrestling again ties it all together and blew it up.
Yeah,
Well,
wrestling
we've
makes the
got
world work.
Tony, we've got that hot topic coming out about those non-sports because
Yep.
specifically you've noticed that there's been a huge spike in some of that stuff.
Huge spike.
Yeah.
You know what? Even though we recorded that episode already, I still go back and monitor some of those sales like that. We've had more since then, hitting six
Yeah.
figures for non-sport cards, man.
Yeah, we didn't have that when we chatted about it. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, there was oh God, what did I see recently that went for a ton? Oh, I forget what it was.
But we had that Iron Man mask card that sold for $111,000,
That's
$116,000.
that's the one I was thinking of. I couldn't remember what exactly it was because there's been a few monsters single sales lately. The golden auctions have just been going ape shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
When
uh
you see more of that stuff at Golden, more of that stuff going to Heritage, then that's a sign,
That is a
that people,
sign. It's a big sign
that,
that says
that
that
now all of a
even
sudden cards that might not have been in that tier are going to auction because people don't mind giving them the 22 points on the sale because they're going to make that much money.
all this does is, again, Paul, is like we keep, it's like beating a dead horse in the mouth here, but it's always this hobby and every hobby, every collectible has been the way I've been saying for years and years and years and years. It's a stock market. It's when to buy and when to sell. It's
Yeah, they're
always
asset
been that
classes.
way, even when we were just simple set collectors.
Yeah.
It was still then people were buying and selling, buying on the dip, selling on the high, man. So it's always been that way. And this is all it's really proving now is that now there's more money being invested in this hobby, and we have Heritage and Golden. We're like, you know what? There's some money for us to be made in there too. Let's go ahead.
Yeah. And with the product we have coming out this year, the Exalteds and these real high end stuff with the WrestleMania patches and all that stuff, and of course what's happened recently with Hogan's boots and Logan's $16 million Pokemon card, it is a brand new day.
Yep.
So Emil, before we cut you off, anything else you want to add about your collecting?
Yeah. When are you coming back to
oh,
Phoenix, dude?
when I know, I will hit you up and hopefully it works out scheduling wise. Like I said, I wanted to go last time, but it just did not make sense. Hopefully I like it. I think I like it better when we do Phoenix, LA instead of LA, Phoenix. I think I prefer that. But regardless of any of that, next time we're in Phoenix, I will, time permitting, I will definitely come by, see the new shop,
Yeah.
and perhaps I will be adequately prepared to make a purchase this time.
It is not required to come make a purchase in the store, man. You can just come and hang out. I tell all the customers who say like, "Oh, I haven't been in a while because I haven't had any money." I'm like, dude, you don't have to have money. Come in, just hang out, man.
When I
Yeah,
came in, I
well,
don't think I bought
now that
anything.
now that I'm back into the card world, I think I will have to leave with something.
Well,
The
just so you
last
know,
time I
too,
had,
we just got approved to be a certified diamond dealer with Upper Deck, so I'll be carrying a lot of AEW product now.
yeah, see, that's what I like. And a lot more of my friends are getting signed to AEW now. Shout out to Jordan Oliver and Alec Price and Speedball Mike Bailey. And like, so I cannot wait
Speedball's
to get
amazing.
cards. I can't wait to get cards of like all of my friends. And that's why
That's got to
I
be
think,
fun, being that where you're at in the business of being associated and working with GCW for as long as you have, and now you're seeing all these people have come through the organization, and now they're
yes,
getting signed by some of the bigger leagues. These are your friends you've built a rapport with. Now they're on trading cards, man.
yeah, it's super cool. Like, and this is a WWF example. But somebody came to a recent GCW show in Atlantic City, and gave me a few cards. And one of them was my old friend and partner of your PC guy. There he is, little Joe
Yep,
Gacy
Oh, Joe
action.
Gacy, great.
yep.
Yeah,
Nice.
and Joe Gacy is somebody that I've known. He on the second show I ever was on in 2008, he came out to help me do commentary on a few matches. So like, so getting something like this is super cool. It says rookie card, a parallel, my friend Joe Gacy. You know
There
what
you
I
go.
like that? Like that's what makes to me like the wrestling thing, collecting wrestling a little bit more fun. Because like when I pulled a Penelope Ford autograph, I'm like, oh, I remember her first day of training. This is cool. You know, not that like if I wanted if I mean if I really wanted a Penelope Ford autograph, I could just hit her up and be like, "Yo, can you do this?" She would be like, "Yeah, sure." But having just getting the experience of it being a real thing and pulling it out and having the surprise of it, oh, this is real cool to get. You know, I like
Probably just a step below you getting your trading cards.
Yeah.
yeah, you're right, right, exactly. Like it's a similar feeling of surprise, just not as extreme.
Yeah.
But it's just super cool to see that, and I can't wait for the AEW releases coming up later this year, maybe next year, maybe later this year, but definitely by next year. That will include the guys that I mentioned, Bailey and Bustin' the Brain and all of them, and everybody else. Like yo, the first like AEW Mystico's card is gonna be awesome. You know, like even though I guess Mystico has MLW cards or something, I don't know, but like an upper deck Mystico is gonna be awesome. That's just how I think about it.
So there you go.
And then
He's got a side PC within his own PC of like collecting all of his friends.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
we touched upon this earlier. Is Brett doing any more GCW cards this year?
probably. I just don't know when. I mean, we might have something like maybe for the collective. I don't know. That's not a real tease.
Right.
That's me actually guessing. That I don't know. Um, but I would think maybe for you know, something around our bigger events, you know, like a collective or a tournament of survival, or like we've done a deathmatch centric one before, right?
Yeah, there was
Would
a
have been
death
nice
match
to
just
have
started.
one for would have been nice to have one for the event you guys put out in out there for WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like collective, or like a blood sport set would be cool. Um, or
We need
like a
GCW at the Nile set.
you got to come to the Nile, bro.
I have. I've gone to the first two you guys ever had out here.
Did I? Oh wait, yeah, that's right, that's right. But I haven't seen you recently.
Yeah, just
So,
because the date's always either I'm out of town or I just can't get out there.
oh yeah, I do. At the first one, that's when you gave me your card.
Correct.
And then, did we come before the second show?
No, the
Yeah,
second time I think I went when you guys had Zilla was there.
that's right. That's right. That's right. It all blurs until people remind me, and then I'm like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, you know. And it's funny because when I was younger, I would watch shoot interviews, and I would get mad. Like, how do you not remember? Like, this is your life. but then me being in this position now, I'm like, I can't remember because it's like I don't remember every day I go into work,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
And then
But
you come across thousands of people over the years like that. I mean, I've done conventions for 25 years, and it's like people come, hey, good to see you again. I'm like, yeah, good to see you again. I go, who the fuck was that, man?
yeah, yeah, yo, wrestling all the time. Like, and it's like I know I've seen them, but I don't know where. I don't know where they're from, where they because
But
sometimes
they
these
seem
people
friendly
will
enough.
pop up and they'll pop up all over the country, and I'm like, I don't know where this guy is from.
Yeah.
And
I
you get around, dude, because you remember you're up here in Toronto, and I met you in line, and then a few week later you're down in Tony's store. I'm like, yeah, I remember this guy.
Yeah, the GCW schedule does keep me busy.
Yeah, it does.
This weekend it doesn't, which is good. I'll take a weekend off, but we'll be back on the West Coast next weekend, LA and Vegas, or Vegas and LA. I should put them in the appropriate order. Um, and yeah, it's always a blast going out on the West Coast. It's so much fun. The fan like, it, and especially having done it on a consistent basis since like almost going on 5 years now, like you build relationships with people and you make friendships with people all over the country
Well,
and
you know what, dude?
all over the world because
You've 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 made
myself
two
in
friends
Toronto.
here. Congratulations on your success in the business. All the best to you. You may have many more, and onwards and
Thank
upwards.
you.
Thank you for joining Tony and I today to talk about your wrestling stuff. We're gonna cut it there. Tony, congratulations on the AEW license you said you got. Now, when we go to the
Yeah,
national, we go to their booth. You can tell them what's going on.
I will.
yeah,
Trust me, I
awesome.
will.
All right, everybody. This is a collector series. Paul and Ann, Tony Vela, Emil Jay on WTCtv. See, I said it slowly there.
Nice.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you all soon.